Hello, all my drunk gamers out there. It's Brian and Jim with Drink a Beer and Play a Game, and here we are at the final Superman game from this goddamn month of terror that was, well, Superman games. So today we're checking out Superman Returns for the Xbox 360.
Released in 2006, this game came out for the Xbox 360, the PlayStation 2, the DS, and had a planned PSP game that never came to fruition. It was developed and published by EA. It's based on the movie of the same name, though it does have some extras thrown in there. So let's just get right into it.
Before we dive deep into these graphics, take a look at that. Just a perfect image of Superman high up above Metropolis with the camera going around him. Doesn't this look like a goddamn Superman game? It's fucking beautiful. Sure, some of the textures and some of the models of your enemies, they might not be up to true Xbox 360 snuff, especially comparing it to games like Gears of War, which were out at the same time. However, this is by far the best looking Superman game. For some weird reason, just like Superman the Man of Steel for Xbox, the cutscenes are dog shit, and I don't understand what the hell they're doing to make them like this. Now granted, this was cross-generational, so they probably didn't spend as much time as they should have for the 360 game. A lot of us know what that's like right now with the Xbox Ones and PS4s for developers still trying to go back to 360 and PS3, but either way, it's definitely not bad looking. We know that 360 can do so much more, but the lighting, the coloring, everything looks pretty damn good, if not a little generic. I actually gave it a 7, Jim gave it a 6. I'm probably giving it higher than expected, but come on. They even have a nice little graphic of when you break the sound barrier. I mean, that's pretty sweet tits. As far as beer, I'm just going to add 1 for little details like this when you take off from the ground and shoot off into the air. Oh boy!
Alright, the sound. Again, this is another great package. The voice acting came straight from the actors from the movie, so you have Brandon Routh, you have Parker Posey, you have fucking Kevin Spacey. Can you really go wrong with Kevin Spacey? The answer is no. No, you can't. And that instantly makes the game great as far as sound goes. Music in the game's good. It's good and it's really appropriate for Superman. Is it memorable? No. Is it really good background noise? Yeah. And I just like how calm some parts can be, how intense some parts can be, or when you're just flying around as Superman around the city and it just sounds like a superhero should sound as he's flying around. The sound effects are okay, they're not great or revolutionary, but they definitely get the job done. This is just a surprisingly good package. To sum it all up, we both gave it 7s. Great package, sure, not perfect, but it's really just appropriate for Superman. And we're not even going to give it a beer. It's perfectly fine.
Once again, since this is the last Superman game, they finally got it right. I'm not going to say perfect, because we still have some of the similar issues that we had with the Xbox game, such as locking onto enemies. Switching between enemies was a pain in the dick. And the flying. It felt so good in this game. Once again, since I'm not a flying simulating nerd like Jim, I had a little more issue with it, but it's not anything that I couldn't overcome. And the fact that you can switch between flying regular and going into supersonic speed, I mean, that was friggin' awesome. The combo system in this game also was fairly easy to use. So while my gripes were small, it just wasn't perfect for me. As you see from the scores, I gave it a 7, Jim gave it an 8. I'm going to add 1 beer just because Jim's a flying simulator nerd.
The gameplay. This game's like a lot of other Superman games that have come before it, where you fly around, you're saving the city, you're fighting bad guys, you're rescuing people, but the focus is mainly put on actual combat this time around. So for the most part, this is kind of how most levels go. You race around the city, you wait and hear for people to call out for help for you, you fight a bunch of robots. When you're done fighting the robots, you pick up people, bring them to the ambulance to save them, and rinse and repeat until you fight a boss. But like we said, in between that, you are going around and there's the constant, just saving the city kind of thing. Hell, even the tutorial for the game is you fighting asteroids and keeping them from crushing Metropolis.
Are you sure they're not meteors?
Tomato, tomato. Anyway, There's also mini games in here, like a lot of open world, superhero twist on the Grand Theft Auto style kind of games. Now, granted, there aren't as much in here as you have in other games, like, say, in Hulk Ultimate Destruction, or Prototype, or Infamous, or shit like that. But you do get games where you turn into Bizarro and you go around the city, causing as much damage as possible instead of preventing it. And you have these races around the city against Mr. Mixosplitic, which are really, really fun, and you're just zooming around the city at these breakneck speeds. I don't know, maybe I do love the flying parts of Superman games a little too much. I geeked out over them. Nerd. Shut up! There's also leveling up options because you do get experience when you beat levels or finish objectives.
Or save kitties!
Yes, I was about to get to the goddamn kittens. Alright, so you know how in GTA how you have those hidden packages all around town? Well, you have that in this game too. Only it's kittens that you're saving from trees, the tops of buildings, randomly on the side of the road, shit like that. So Brian's gonna get to this more, but the health bar system in this game is actually really unique, and it's actually really fitting for a Superman game. So to wrap all this shit up, I gave it a 6 because technically it's nothing that's really that crazy different, but it just works for Superman. And Brian gave it a 7. And as far as beers go, I'll just add 1 beer because you get to save sweet little kitty cats.
As far as the originality, right off the bat, this is the only true open world Superman game. The other ones might have had 3D worlds that you could have flown around, but this is the only interactive, true open world for Superman. Putting that aside, like Jim mentioned, you get to save little kitties, and then you can do the side missions as Bizarro, Mixoplex, whatever the fuck his name is.
Mixosplitic!
Yeah, Mixoplex. Other than that, the fact that, like Jim mentioned, you level up to upgrade your heat vision, your freeze breath, get additional combos, these are all things we've never seen in a Superman game. The rest of the game pretty much mirrors what we saw in the Man of Steel for the Xbox, but this just brings so much more to life. And like I said, there's little touches like breaking sound barriers and things like that we've never seen or felt or experienced. So keeping all of that in mind, we both gave it a 6. It's not revolutionary, but all those little touches did add up in our eyes. So I'm not even going to add a beer. Kudos to the final Superman game being as original as it was.
Alright, the replayability. Again, this is kind of a short game. You can basically get through it within 5 or 6 hours. But you have the Mr. and Mrs. Splitic races, you have the Bizarro missions, you have the kitty saving, and you have the basic missions for the game itself. Honestly, maybe it's just the Superman dork in me, but I just had fun flying around the city and feeling like Superman. So, there's a little bit of, shelf life for something like that, but, I had more fun and got more time out of it doing it. As far as being a completionist for the game goes, this will keep you coming back, getting all the achievements in the game in the later Xbox 360 version, or even just going back and playing it again, because, you know what? This is the first Superman game that we can honestly say is fun and works, and makes you feel like Superman. So if you're a fan of Superman, this will be the game that you'll come back to. Maybe the scores are a little inflated, but we both gave it 7s. This is a game that we feel does have lasting value just outside of the core game. Hell, maybe you just like to hear Kevin Spacey talk, and this is a good reason to go back. Yeah, you know what? I'm not even going to give it a beer. Good job, game. You made us happy.
So overall, as we're wrapping up the final Superman game in this month of Superman video games...
But Rob, we went over into May.
It's because you touched yourself too much.
Or not enough.
Damn it. Anyway, if you look at other reviewers for this game, they were really harsh. And if you keep in the frame of mind of how this compares to other Superman games, and if you're a Superman fan, then you will appreciate elements of this game. I can tell you it was a fresh of breath air after all those pieces of shit to go out on a high note like this. Now, I'm not saying it's a perfect game, and yes, it is really repetitive, and there's probably going to be a lot of things about this game you might not like. But if you're willing to put in the time with any of those other games and you come to this, you'll appreciate it like Jim and I did. The final thing I'm going to mention before we get to the scores is...
Kitties?
No, not the goddamn kitties! Why in the holy fuck is the final boss a tornado? Maybe I should have said spoiler warning. It's not even a spoiler worth preserving.
Spoiler warning. There, we did it.
Superman has a lot of enemies, and you fight a lot of the enemies in this game. I shouldn't say a lot, but a handful. So why, of all the things, does he have to fight a tornado? And as you see from this footage that's looping as I'm talking, you just alternate between freezing it and heating it up. The fuck? Seriously?
Maybe Darkseid was busy that day.
Darkseid's not in any of these games.
Maybe he was busy.
Doing your mom. So anyway, putting all that aside, Jim and I, we both gave it a 7. It honestly probably is a little inflated, but what the hell, man. You get to be friggin' Superman finally in a game, even if it's fucking repetitive. When we combine all of our scores together, it rounds out to a 6.8. We think that's fair. We know most other reviewers took a kryptonite shit on this game. Nah, we liked it. So, if you're gonna play any Superman games, stick to the last 3, honestly. PS2, Xbox, and Xbox 360. They're your best bet.
Well, Death Return aren't bad.
Yeah, but do you want to pay $100 for it?
Nope.
Exactly. When it comes to beer pairing, we want to pair this with the Allagash White. Now, unfortunately, most people's experiences with wit beers ends at Blue Moon. But really, this is a category you should reach out more. Allagash White is a perfect example of a frigging amazing beer that just doesn't get tried as often as if we think it should. So, like this game, it's something that's probably underappreciated, but once you give it a try, you'll realize there's a lot of potential here. So remember to drink your beers and play your games responsibly. As always, guys, thanks for checking out this video, and if you enjoyed it, make sure you give us a thumbs up, leave some comments, or better yet, why not subscribe? Till next time, guys, cheers.